Irashimasu! Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Try from Japan, the video series where we look at all things Japanese. And today it is another Laserdisc acquisition. And this comes from the animation company Looney Tunes. So this is a volume 1 of 5 box sets that were produced in Laserdisc form called The Golden Age of Looney Tunes. So each volume comprised a certain period of time in which Looney Tunes cartoons were produced. This is 70 cartoons from 1933 to 1948. That makes up the first volume. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, this is an American release. Why is he talking about it here on Let's Try from Japan? First of all, obviously, I mentioned that the Laserdisc was a big hit in Japan, especially with the anime market. And so I like talking about Laserdiscs regardless of whether they are associated with Japan or not. But this particular Laserdisc does have a connection to Japan, and it is in a rather unfortunate manner. So when Volume 1 was first released, it had 70 uncut cartoons on there, and there was one particular cartoon that had to be removed and replaced, and the volumes were recalled and replaced. And so this is a copy of the original Volume 1, which has the cartoon that was replaced still on it. And so if you bear with us and watch through the video, we'll have a look at why it was inappropriate, why it was taken off, and what connection it has to Japan. So join with me today as we look into the weird and wonderful and sometimes inappropriate world of Looney Tunes cartoons. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the box itself. So this is the front cover. Obviously says the Golden Age of Looney Tunes, and then Looney Tunes is comprised of some of the cartoon characters from that particular period of between 1933 and 1948. Tells you it's a 5-disc set on Laserdisc, it's extended play and has chapter search capabilities. And so when we open the box up itself, we have one leaflet and then 5 discs just in separate sleeves within the box. Flipping over the box to the back, it says, "The Looney Tunes are here. The Warner Brothers cartoons have the deserved reputation of being the funniest animated cartoons ever made. This Laserdisc collection brings together the finest and funniest films produced by the studio during its golden age in the 1930s and 1940s. These were the pioneering years, from the early 30s when the studio competed against Disney with delightful popular sing-inspired novelties, through the Tex Avery innovations of the late 30s which changed the course of Hollywood cartoons, and into the classic screwball cartoons of the 1940s, which popularized such characters as Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Tweety, and Sylvester, among others. During this first half of the Warner Brothers cartoon history, the animators were inspired by popular trends, radio programs, the Depression, and later World War II. They poked fun at anything and everything while perfecting their techniques, their style, and their trademark humor." And that is one of the reasons why some of these cartoons are inappropriate today. The poking fun at and particular styles that they used were deemed offensive in later years. So let's have a brief look at what is included in this little booklet. So flipping over to the back, it gives you a complete chapter search for each of the Laserdisc sides. That tells you the particular episodes that are included on each of those sides. And opening up, it tells you a bit of information about each of the cartoons that are included on each of the particular sides and what the side is comprised of. So side 1 is 1930s musicals, so they will be the Merry Melody cartoons. Side 2 is firsts, so these are the cartoons that made the characters famous, so it'll be the first features of those key characters, Bugs, Daffy, Tweety Pie, Porky Pig, etc. You have side 3, which are Tex Avery cartoons, so they were cartoons that were produced and created by Tex Avery. You've got side number 4, if you can see it at the top, which were Bob Clampetts. Side 5, which were Chuck Jones. Side 6, which were Friz Freleng. Side 7, Bugs Bunny by each director. So it's a classic Bugs Bunny cartoon by each of the directors. And then we have side 8, which is 1940s Zanies. So the screwball characters that started coming in the 1940s. Got side 9, which is Hooray for Hollywood. So they are all about lampooning Tinseltown of Hollywood. And then side 10 is the Art of Bugs. So it is the Bugs Bunny characterizations. So this particular volume, as I said, included one particular Bugs Bunny cartoon that was removed, and it was on side number 7. So we are going to talk about it in detail. If you read those titles, you might be able to work out which one I am talking about in relation to its inappropriate nature and Japan, but you will find out in a second exactly why. Looney Tunes is an American animated comedy short film series produced by Warner Brothers from 1930 to 1969, alongside its sister series, Merry Melodies. Merry Melodies was originally produced by Hugh Harman and Rudolph Ising from 1931 to 1938, and then Leon Schlesinger from 1933 to 1944, before selling his studio to Warner Brothers. The Merry Melody cartoons would feature music from the soundtracks of Warner Brothers films and thus serve as advertisements for their recording and sheet music. Walt Disney already had a successful similar series of cartoons set to songs called Silly Symphonies, with the cartoon's plot and characters animated to reflect the lyrics or musical scores. The shorts proved to be enormously popular, and in 1932 a Merry Melody cartoon called It's Got Me Again was nominated for the first Academy Award to be given for animation. The distinctive coloured bullseye opening and closing title sequences to Looney Tunes shorts would start with Merry Melodies in 1936. Merry Melodies cartoons would see the first appearances of the most well-known Looney Tunes characters. Porky Pig was first introduced in the 1935 cartoon I Haven't Got a Hat. Daffy Duck would star in his first short with 1937's Porky's Duck Hunt. Elmer Fudd was conceived as a slightly different character called Egghead in 1937's Egghead Rides Again, before being realised as Elmer Fudd in 1940's short Elmer's Candid Camera. And Looney Tunes' most famous character, Bugs Bunny, would start life as Happy Rabbit in the 1938 short Porky's Hare Hunt, before evolving into Bugs Bunny in the 1940 short A Wild Hare. Other major characters would follow, with Tweety Pie first showing up in a 1941 Merry Melody short The Cagey Canary, before being introduced fully in the 1942 short A Tale of Two Kitties. Sylvester, however, wouldn't start out being enemies with Tweety Pie, but he was a mouse-chasing kitty in the 1939 short Naughty But Mice, before evolving into Sylvester for the 1945 cartoon Life with Feathers. And the roster of characters would then multiply, with other mainstays in the Looney Tunes universe including Foghorn Leghorn, Yosemite Sam, Taz the Tasmanian Devil, Pepe Le Pew, the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, and Speedy Gonzales. Merry Melodies would be produced in colour and Looney Tunes in black and white. That was until 1944, when both series began being produced in colour and became virtually indistinguishable from one another, varying only in their opening theme music and titles. Looney Tunes cartoons had been distinguished from 1937 by using the theme music from a Cliff Friend and Dave Franklin song called The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down, and Merry Melodies was an adaptation of Merrily We Roll Along by Charles Tobias, Murray Mincher and Eddie Cantor. The original Looney Tunes series would run with theatrical shorts from 1930 to 1969, and animators working on the shorts included Hugh Harman, Chuck Jones, Tex Avery, Friz Freleng, Bob Clampett and David Petige, to name but a few of the most influential. As popular as these shorts were and continue to be, a few of these shorts have been removed from public airing and syndication due to scenes of smoking, drinking, violence, and most notably the lampooning and racial and ethnic stereotyping and language used in portrayals of different races. 11 features were withdrawn from distribution in 1968 to not be featured or sold to the public and have been categorized and known as the Censored 11. These film shorts are Hitting the Trail for Hallelujah Land from 1931, which was removed due to the character of Uncle Tom, a dog character portrayed in an offensive level as a blackface caricature, who uses the name Uncle Tom as a nod to the racial epithet Uncle Tom for a house slave of African descent. Sunday Go to Meetin' Time from 1936, removed due to African American characters who look and act like blackface minstrel show stereotypes. Clean Pastures from 1937, again removed due to African American characters displaying racial stereotypes. Uncle Tom's Bungalow from 1937, as with the first short on this list, removed due to racial stereotypes around slavery. Jungle Jitters from 1938, contains stereotyping of black people throughout and natives shown to be cannibals. The Isle of Pingo Pongo from 1938, racial stereotyping of invented island inhabitants. All This and Rabbit Stew from 1941, a Bugs Bunny short removed due to the racial stereotyping of an African American hunter. Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs from 1943, an all-black parody of the Brothers Grimm story Snow White, with extreme racial stereotyping, even down to the offensive title. This one is probably the most notorious of the 11. Tin Pan Alley Cats from 1943, a follow-up to the previous short, but with cats displaying African American racial stereotypes. Angel Puss from 1944, protagonists display multiple African American racial stereotypes. Goldilocks and the Jivin' Bears from 1944, multiple racial stereotypes set around a jazz trio make this the last of the 11 banned shorts. However, these 11 are cartoons that have content throughout, making them unable to be edited for resyndication. A number of other shorts have had segments removed due to gags involving ethnic stereotypes of not just black people, but American Indians, Asians, Germans, Italians, and Mexicans. World War II also saw a number of cartoons displaying prejudices and propaganda against German and Japanese characters, which brings us to the short featured then removed from the Laserdisc collection I have shown today. That short is a World War II propaganda cartoon starring Bugs Bunny, released in 1944, called Bugs Bunny Nips the Nips. Already offensive just from its title, using a racial slur used to describe Japanese people, the short features Japanese soldiers with racial stereotyped caricatures and speech, and Bugs Bunny imitating Japanese General Hideki Tojo and geisha girls whilst using Japanese racial slurs. Only 1 year earlier, in 1943, another propaganda short called Tokyo Jokyo also contained multiple racist satirical content and portrayals of Japanese generals, such as Isaruku Yamamoto, Mashihara Homa, and Hideki Tojo. And multiple propaganda features in 1943 and 1944 focused on Nazi caricatures and offensive German stereotyping. These included Confusions of a Nazi Spy, Daffy the Commando, Russian Rhapsody, Plain Daffy, and Her Meets Hair. It is a relief to know that this type of stereotyping or style of comedic effect is now only featured in media intended to have the purpose of causing offence, and not something intended to entertain and amuse children and families, and that portrayal of negative and inappropriate content is not now seen as acceptable and commonplace. Finally, I'd like to end this video with a shout out. My last Laserdisc acquisition video was about the horror film franchise Critters, as I had managed to obtain a copy of the second film, Critters 2, the Japanese Laserdisc version, and I did a little retrospective on the film franchise and series as a whole. After I put that video out, I got a lovely comment from a guy called Rob saying how much he enjoyed the video, and he let me know that he had done a Critters collaboration video with some other YouTubers on his channel. So his channel is called Rob Bounty. I advise you pop over there and give it a look, especially if you're into sci-fi and horror and collectibles. He features a lot of videos where he looks at those things, but he made me aware of the fact that he had edited the 8-episode series A New Binge, the Shudder exclusive series, into a full feature. And that he had released it on DVD with a few extras and the fan film Bounty Hunters, which is a really cool short fan film. And so I got a copy off of him. This is my DVD copy of it. As you can see, it's got some lovely artwork there on the front, and on the back it's got some screenshots and a description about what A New Binge is. And as I said, it features a lot of extras, a lot of behind the scenes of the New Binge, and it has that lovely fan film which has only been released on YouTube, so it's nice to have that on a DVD format as well. And then inside he also included some art cards, so there are some art cards from the film itself, so those are a nice little addition as well. So the New Binge is obviously not been made available on home media format, so it's nice to have a copy of that so you don't have to watch it on Shudder or pay for it to watch it on Amazon. So it's really cool, really cool, nice release. If you are interested in getting a hold of this, or you want to see Rob's Critters collaboration, then head over to the Rob Bounty YouTube channel, pop a comment and a like on his Critters collaboration video, and he'll get in touch with you and let you know where you can get one for yourself. I'm really happy with this. I'm really thankful for Rob's support and putting me in touch with a Critters Facebook group and getting me some extra views, likes and comments on my Critters video. So again, thank you for Rob for that. Please go over and check out Rob Bounty on YouTube and that Critters collaboration video. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. I only have one last thing to say, and that is arigatou gozaimasu.